Okay, so let's move on to creating a form. So we will first create a form for our drivers table. Okay, so it's very simple, very easy. First, make sure you have the correct table opened. So I do have the drivers table opened, and now what I got to do is I have to come to create. And when you come to form, you have so many options. You have form, form design, blank form, form wizard, so many options given. I would recommend you just go directly to form, where the computer would create the entire form for you. Okay, the entire form would be created for the computer. You can save so much of time using this method. Okay, so let's just click on form, and you can see within a second the entire form has been created for you. Okay, now when it comes to a form, once again you have multiple views. Okay, so when you click on the view tab, you will either find this in the form layout design, or you can find it in the home tab. When you click on view, you have three different views for a form. Number one is form view. So form view is where you enter your data into the form. Okay, so you can see this is the first record, then we have the second record, third record, and if you want to enter a new record, just click the next button, and now you can enter a new record. So in form view is where you enter data into your forms. Layout view is where you can adjust the size of each fields. Okay, so you can adjust the layout in layout view. Okay, you can adjust the text, you can put colors, you can adjust the sizes, all that can be done. However, when you come into the final view, which is design view, you can do much more bigger changes, much more advanced changes in design view. So when you are in design view, you can put buttons, for example. Okay, so that can only be done when you are in design view. So design view is for doing certain advanced changes. I'll give you examples of what are some of the advanced changes that you can do in design view. Okay, so let us start off with the layout view, where for example the first thing we need to do is we need to give the form a meaningful title. So say we can give, for example, driver registration form, for example. Okay, this is a much more meaningful name, driver registration form, and you can make it look like a heading. You can select it, and you can come to format, and you can make it bold, you can make it underlined. Okay, if you want, you can put a different font color for it, all up to you. Okay, you can also do the same for the data. Okay, so you can select each of the fields. Okay, I'll just press Control and select each of them, and I would come, for example, and make it bold maybe, or maybe what I would do is come home, undo this, and make the field headings, not the field data, the field headings bold. Let's come to format and make it bold. Okay, so you can make changes like this in layout view. Okay, now something else that I want to do, something a little more advanced, what I want to do is I want to place two buttons over here. So I want one button, when clicked automatically it will print the form, and I want another button, when clicked it would automatically save the form. Okay, so now this is something that it's better you do it in design view. Okay, so let's change the view. Let's go into design view, let's come into design view, and you can see that there is you need to increase the space over here. So let me keep the cursor here and pull this down so that I have more space available for me to put my buttons. Okay, so when you come to the form design tab, you can find we have something like this. Okay, when you keep the cursor, it says it's a button. Okay, so you can click on it, and now you can draw where you want the button to appear. So I want the button to appear somewhere here. Let me draw it. Now the first question that comes is what type of a button you want. So I have to go through the correct category. So I want a record operation. Okay, I want a record operation, and the operation that I want is a print record button. Okay, so inside the category of record operations, the action that I want is print record. So let me take that and click on next. Do you want text? Do you want picture? Picture is always better, it's universal, anybody can understand. And let's click on next and give it a meaningful name, doesn't matter. Go ahead and click on finish. So can you see you have the print button that has been created for you. Let's make it slightly bigger. Okay, let's go into form view and see whether it works. So let's click on it. Yes, it's working, it's going into print mode. Okay, then let's also create a button for saving a record, where when I click on it, automatically the form, or the data entered into the form will automatically be saved. Okay, let's create a button for just saving. Okay, so let's go into design view again. Let's go into design view, and over here let's take the button tool. Okay, so button tool is inside the form design tab. Okay, inside the form design tab, let's take the button tool. Let's draw it from here to here. So again, it asks what type of a button do you want. Let's come into record operations, and let's say we want a save record button. Okay, I want a save record button. Let's click on next. I always prefer picture. Do you want, what type of a picture do you want? Do you want a check mark or a save record? I think save record picture is better. Next, finish. Okay, let's make it even bigger. There you go. So now you have two buttons, okay, which will make it easier, which would make this form easier to use. You have one button for printing and one button for saving. This would definitely make it easier to use this particular form. Okay, there is one more feature that you can add to this form that would make it easier to use this form, and that feature, what we can do is we can assign that feature for the driver vehicle type. If you do remember, for driver vehicle type there are limited values. It's either a car, a tuk, or a van. I hope you do remember, for driver vehicle type we did define that only any of the three values can be accepted, which is car, tuk, or van. So what you can do is, for driver vehicle type, instead of allowing the user to type it, you can have a drop down list where when they click on driver vehicle type, three values will appear and they have to select one from it. Okay, so you can put what we call a drop down list, and this particular feature can be done in design view. So right now we are in design view. How do we get it? We have to make use of a feature called a combo box. Can you see where my cursor is? This is what we call the combo box. Using this tool we can create a drop down list for the driver vehicle type. Okay, let's see how it's done. So let's click on this. Let's draw this from here to here. Oh, I did not draw it properly. Let's cancel it and delete it. Let's neatly draw it. Combo box, neatly draw it over this. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now when I click it, now the wizard has opened up. So I drew my combo box and my drop down list basically, and now the combo box opens up asking me, how do you want your combo box to get its values? So this drop down list that you're about to create, from where is it going to get its values? So number one is, I want the combo box to get the values from another table or query, or number two, I will type in the values that I want, or find a record on my form based on the value I selected in my combo box. So from these three options, option number two is the best for me, where I will type in the values. I will type in car, van, and tuk. Okay, I will type in the values. That is much easier for me. Okay, so I'll go with option number two, where I will define the values, and click on next. So then it asks me, okay, what are the values? So the values are tuk, car, van. Okay, these are the three values that my database will be, my table or my form will be accepting, either tuk, car, or van. Let's click on next. Remember the values for later use, no probs. Click on next. What is the name that you would like? What is the label that you would like? Col1 is fine, it doesn't matter. Let's click on finish. So now your drop down list, or rather your combo box, has been created. Let's go and see it in form view. In form view you can actually click on it and see is it working. So let's go back into form view. So when you do go into form view, you can see it's there. When you click on it, you can see the three values are appearing. Okay, and also the name of the combo box is appearing over here, which is kind of not looking so good, so we can delete the name. Let's come into design view and let's delete this name. Very carefully click on the name only and delete it. Now what needs to be understood is, we created a drop down list. However, we did not connect this drop down list to the driver vehicle type field. You got it? This particular drop down list, we just created it on top of the driver vehicle type field, isn't it? We did not connect it with the driver vehicle type field. We need to connect it as well. So how do we connect it? Let me show you. So you need to take the property sheet. Okay, you have the property sheet, right? Let's take the property sheet, which shows you all the properties for your form. Okay, and now click on this drop down list, click on this combo box. Okay, click on this combo box. Now when you click on the combo box, when you come into the property sheet, you can see there is something called control source. So control source is basically which field is responsible, or which field is connected to this drop down list. That's what control source is, which field is controlling this drop down list. So you can see for this particular drop down list, there is no control source. no control source has been defined, no field has been defined. So better you go and define it now itself. So let's click over here. Okay, make sure you're in the data tab. Okay, and click over here and tell that you want it to be connected to the driver vehicle type. Okay, so you're basically telling whatever value is selected in the drop down list, that value should go to the driver vehicle type field. Okay, I hope it's making sense to you. We created a drop down list, but we did not connect this drop down list with the correct field. Just now we did the connection. Just now we said this drop down list is connected to the driver vehicle type field. So whatever value you insert here will automatically go into the driver vehicle type field. Okay, so let's come back into form view. You can see Sheldon Cooper was driving a car has automatically appeared. Let's go to the next field. Leonard was driving a tuk has appeared over here. Third one, Penny was driving a car has automatically appeared over here. So the next record, your new blank record, when you enter a value, whatever value you enter over here, and when you click on the save button, the value that you enter over here will automatically go and fall into the driver vehicle type field. Okay, because we connected the two. Okay, so I do hope creating a form is making sense to you. I do hope it's making sense to you. So we have made certain changes. We have put a drop down list for it. If you can, please do try to create a form for the customer table as well. Okay, so I do hope you have practice with creating for the driver table. Do try and create one for the customer table. However, before you do that, let us first save this form. Okay, let us first save this form and let's see how it works. Okay, so I'm going to click on the save button. It asks me what is the name. I'll just say drivers registration form. I'll just give it a name like this and click on OK. So as soon as I save it, you can see on the left hand side my form has appeared. If it does not appear for you, just click on this button over here and say you want all access objects to be visible. So then queries, tables, reports, forms, everything will be visible. Okay, click over here and say you want all access objects to be visible. Okay, now let's go into form view and let's enter a new piece of data. Okay, let's scroll to record number 4. So driver ID we will have D004. Driver name we'll say Rajesh Kutrapalli. Driver date of birth 8 August 1990. So August is 8/8/1990. Driver contact 123456677 8. So how many characters we have? 3 6 9. Okay, driver address, let's keep the address as for example Mumbai. Okay, driver vehicle type, let's click over here and let's take a car. Okay, so now let's click on save. I want this record to be saved. Now when you do come to the drivers table, you would notice Rajesh's details have still not come. Okay, you did enter it over here, but it has not appeared over here yet. Don't worry, all you have to do is simply close this table, close the table, and then come and reopen it, and you will find Rajesh's details have now appeared. Okay, just close the table and open it up again. The details would have fallen in them. Okay, so if you're okay with this, if it's making, if you have understood how the form works, I would recommend you also create a form for the customer table. Okay, try and do the same formatting, change the put a meaningful title, then format it a little bit, put some buttons, put a drop down list. So for example, for the customer table, drop down list can be there for customer title where there are only 2 values, either MR or MS. Okay, you can do something like that. You can have buttons for saving, for printing, for deleting, up to you. You can choose whichever button you prefer. If you're having difficulties, you can always drop an email. Let me put the email address over here, and as soon as possible I'll try and get back to you. Okay, so we have now learned how to create a form. Okay, we have now learned how a form is created. In our next video we will be moving through how you can sort data. Okay, how is data sorted in a database, and then thereafter there are much more things to be learned. Okay, so I hope form is clear. I hope it makes sense. Do try creating a form for the customers table as well. Okay, see you in the next video then. Take care.